Walk with me. Happy 2023. I know we're well into the new year already, but want to send you some positive happy New Year's. Hope your year is off to an amazing start. Hope you're thinking big. Hope you have a big vision. Hope you're feeling good. Holidays are always fun, but New Year's especially, it's just an awesome energy, isn't it? At least for me, I think it's my favorite time of the year, my favorite holiday, if you will, my favorite season. Every time around New Year's, I generally have a combination of two feelings, like two strong feelings that collide. First is always a feeling of gratitude. Do you have a year-end process of review? Hopefully you at least pause for a minute and reflect a little bit. I go through that every year, and I'm always grateful. And it's a genuine, not just a word, but a genuine feeling of gratitude looking on 2022. And yeah, the victories, the awesome moments, the joy, the highlights, the celebrations, but also as my years go on, I'm learning to develop gratitude for the things I didn't want, but maybe I needed. The things that I didn't ask for, but happened. The things I didn't expect, but was forced to adapt and handle. The stuff, right? The stuff. The mud, to use the analogy of what I'm walking through right now after the rains here. But gratitude for all of that. And to extract the lessons, right? To grab the shifts in perspective and figure out what I'm leaving in last year and bringing into the new year. But gratitude for all of it. And then the second feeling is always like a real enthusiasm, excitement, alive for the year ahead and the possibility. And I don't remember a lot of what I learned in the classroom. Isn't that amazing? We all spent so many hours in the classroom. And if I were to try to recall like the most valuable lessons I learned in the classroom, it'd be a pretty short list. But there's one thing that I learned in I don't know if it was a philosophy class or a psychology class along the way. And it's a Latin term that every year at this time I'm reminded of. And that term is tabula rasa. Have you heard that before? Tabula Rasa. I may be pronouncing it incorrectly. Literally translated, that means blank slate. And the reason that philosophy always comes to my mind in the new year is I think a new year is a great time to start with a blank slate, to turn to a fresh page, to grab a blank canvas and decide what you want to write. What's your story going to be? What picture we're going to paint? If we have a blank slate, not how things were or have been, but how we want them to be, and we were to start from a tabula rasa, what would it look like? I know that's cliche. We can do that anytime, at any point in our life. You don't need a calendar to turn. But it's a time of the year where everybody's intention is on the same page. And I think there's something powerful in everybody kind of being in the same space at the same time. That it is the moment of tabula rasa. So what I want to talk about today is a personal process, if you will, of what I go through annually between New Year's and my birthday on February 2nd. Yes, Aquarius, yes, Groundhog's Day. And it's a personal process I call a life lens. And it's just a collection of kind of questions and habits that I've gathered throughout my lifetime. I mean, it's an evolution of, 23 years in the personal growth and development, professional growth and development space as a student before a mentor or teacher. And it's something that I put together purely for me, like zero other intention other than a personal process I adapt year to year to year to year, to evaluate and rewrite that canvas, that blank page, that life, right? Or feeling alive by design, to use the name of the podcast. It's the design framework. And I want to walk you through, it's really 7 lenses. And by lens, I mean 7 like lenses I look through in order to help not just keep me on track, but define my track, like define my path, show the way, and then you help me walk the way. And I'll walk you through, if it's okay with you guys, those 7 lenses, and you can take from it what you will. It might be more than you need right now, but I bet there's something that you can grab to apply. And I'll give you the framework, if that's okay with y'all. Morning. Before we get into it, I'm going to ask, who's walking with me? First walk in the new year. Who's by my left? Who's by my right? Say hello below. Welcome back. I see you. Let me know where you're from, tuning in. And if you're new to the crew, a big welcome. We walk together live, usually weekly around the same time, sharing inspired thoughts, stream of consciousness, and sharing perspective with each other in the comments. So all I ask is that you participate, collaborate, and share. That adds value to you, to me, and to everybody walking with us virtually today. So, life lens. Disclaimer, me to you, a personal process, never really shared publicly in a whole lot of detail. I've been asked by people I've mentored over the years and given pieces to those that I work with, but never kind of like a whole thing in a public format. So I'm going to go pretty quick and high level, but it's something that I have found super valuable in every season of my life, both the highs and what kept me climbing, the lows, the valleys, and what keep me going, and all the times of change and shift, and what continues to help power through. So 7 lenses. The first lens in the life lens is really about the why, right? The why. Without this piece, in my opinion, the rest just doesn't matter if you don't understand the why you do what you do, why you are where you are, why, right, you are the person you are today. And there's really 3 pieces or 3 components under the why that I kind of reevaluate and ask myself every year. The first under the why is purpose, right? Purpose. What is my personal purpose? The why I do what I do. And I write down a simple statement, right? A single sentence or a couple sentences that defines kind of my personal purpose or how I feel that is at this stage of my life. And this isn't about perfection. It's not about, once and done. It can change. It's just how you feel in the state you are right now. So my question for all of you is, like, what's your personal purpose? How would you define it? And just write something. Something's better than nothing, and it can always be improved on. So don't let perfection stand in the way of progress. It's just a matter of pen to paper, and write a sentence that you feel captures your purpose at this time. And the key for this is just, this. It's you. It's not about coming up with it or creating it or writing what you think sounds good or someone else will sound good. It's really for nobody else but for you. So just pen to paper what you feel, let it flow. The second part of the why lens is mission, right? Personal mission. In other words, what drives me to do what I do every single day? The purpose is more the feeling. The mission is more the map. Right, it's the navigation to why I do what I do and what drives me to do whatever I do every single day. And again, the mission doesn't have to be long; it can be as short as long as you want. But what's your mission? What's your mission for 2023? How would you define your personal mission? And the last one was a term I got from a friend and a fellow mentor and peer of mine, Jay Shetty, fairly recently. And it's a concept of an MTP, and I just loved that concept. I'd never heard it before. He might have got it from somebody else, but I added it to my life lens last year. And the MTP is short for a massive transformational purpose. And the concept of that is once you're clear on your purpose, you're clear on your mission, and you live that every day with a powerful intention, at some point it turns into this clear, massive transformational purpose. This is a movement, right? It's not just about the feeling or what drives you, but it's about the movement you can create around the mission and purpose you're on. So that's kind of the why lens. And to me, all of those come together, and it's like, well, why does it matter? Why does anything else matter? And getting clarity on why you're on a mission, what the purpose is you're here, what movement you want to create. It creates a lens to look through first and foremost, in my opinion, before you ask yourself kind of the other questions and other steps. So that's kind of the why lens, and then maybe the three things that you might want to tackle. Maybe tackle one or maybe tackle two, but I do three of them within my life lens, and I took some time to write all those out for 2023. And the second lens, so after the why, the second lens is more about the what, right? So the what comes down to maybe some things that are more tangible for you. The why is about the alignment, right? The alignment and kind of who you are, why you're here, what you're meant to do. But the what is really about the drive, right? It's about the desire. What is it that you desire? What is it that you want? A lot of times we're taught to do the what first, right? The things. And two components that I ask myself every year in the what category. One is starts with a vision, right? A vision of where I'm going for myself into the future. And that vision can be a lifetime vision, right? It can be a 10-year vision. It can be as far into the future as I can possibly put myself. So what's the vision that you're marching to, right? You're driving to. You have a desire to see starting this year forward. And over the years, my vision used to be a collection of things, and there's nothing wrong with that. Vision boards, right? And things that you want. And there's nothing that's wrong with that. If it ignites your desire and fuels you with power, it's effective. Over time, my vision has just naturally adapted, and it wasn't an intention, but it's adapted to kind of less about the things and more about the person I want to become, right? The person I'm becoming, who I want to be, my best future self, my potential. So it's more about the person I'm becoming, and who is that person? What does that look like? So I ask myself, who is the person I want to become? Who is the best version of myself? Who is the picture of my potential? And that's my vision, right? And I think beyond the person that you're becoming, I think it's also the life that you want to live, the life you want to create, the life by design, right? What does that life look like? So a lot of times it comes down to a vision statement of, I am. And that's how I write it. I am, and I write it based on who I'm becoming, and then my life is. And I write those statements based on the life I want to live. And that's a vision statement for me, right? An I am statement and a my life is statement that paints a picture on who I'm becoming in the life that I want. And then the second one is kind of the common one we talk about this time of the year, which comes down to goals, right? So specific goals, milestones. There's plenty of topics on how to do appropriate goal setting. I don't think there's a right or wrong way, whatever works for you. There's so many systems and methodologies out there. I think it's just important to have milestones, markers, right, that we want to achieve. And for me, I do a goal setting process. I have a series of categories that I set goals to every year, and they've changed throughout the years. For this year, there were 10 categories, and I've been on 10 categories for a while. So if you want to know my 10 categories, I set specific goals, right? Measurable goals, things that can be achieved or not achieved goals, things with tangible timelines, goals, around 10 different categories. One category is spiritual. I have spiritual goals. Second category is health. I have health goals. Third would be family. I have family goals. Fourth would be relationship, my relationship goals. Fifth would be growth, right? My growth as in personal, professional growth goals. 5 would be business, right? Goals. 7 would be financial, which I think is kind of an outcome of all the things above, right? Financial goals. 8 would be, for me, kind of, I call it platform or reach or impact, right? Goals. 9 would be contribution, the give back, and 10 would be experiences, because I'm big on experiences and kind of collecting those type of moments. So those are my categories. Those aren't the only categories. You can choose some of those or less of those or add more of those or have different ones. But whatever categories are important to you, I do think the desire is, what is it we're trying to drive toward? And those goals are important because they're milestone markers, especially achiever mindsets. We got to have something that keeps us on track and moves us forward. Something, again, this whole category is about desire. And by getting clear on the vision and the goals, it should ignite a burning desire. That's your power. That's your energy, right, to move you forward. So second lens is is the what. I think the why you look through first. That's alignment. I think the what you look through second, because that's kind of a desire, right, to move you forward. Third category, third lens would be who, right? This comes down to the people that can help you with what you just defined above. I look at everybody as circles, for lack of a better term, and I look at as 3 different circles in my life that are the most important. First would be my inner circle. My inner circle are the people closest to me. And again, I have different circles in my inner circle. Some are more family-oriented or friend-oriented or business-oriented or mentor-oriented or spiritual-oriented or, social-oriented or adventure-oriented, right? But I have inner circles, people that are close. Who's in your inner circle that can help you become who you want to become, right? Live the life that you live. Your outer circle, right? I learned this from working alongside John C. Maxwell for a number of years, and he taught me for the first time. And an outer circle, these are people you don't have to have connection to every day or a personal relationship to. They might not even know who you are, right? Or if they do, they're people you have access to, maybe more remote. This might be mentor-like figures, coach-like figures, teacher-like figures, or even some of your personalities you follow on social media that they might as well be your mentor, even though they don't know you're listening. You're listening every single day. It's the value of being connected today. But an outer circle, right, gives you perspective, gives you wisdom. And then I've added over the last couple of years a third circle, which I call kind of an influence or impact circle, which are the people that can help expand my reach, elevate my impact. And I keep circles, right? But the lens is the who. Who can help you move toward the vision you have for who you want to be, right? The vision you have for the life you want to live. Who can help you move toward not just the what's, but the why, right? Your mission, your purpose, the who. And I think that's a really important lens. We don't have to do this by ourselves. We're not on this planet by ourselves. So often we think we got to do everything on our own shoulders, where really the power is in each other. Who's there to help you? You have people in your corner. Who can we find? Number 4, this is probably one of the most important, because without this, you don't move forward. And that's the how lens, right? So when we're clear on kind of why it matters, alignment, when we're clear on kind of what we want, the desire, when we're clear on kind of who, right, is going to help us, right, that comes down to, the perspective we can get. Then it comes down to the how. How are we going to do it? This is strategy, right? Strategy. Definitely has the most kind of sub buckets. I spent a lot of time on the how, because I think the strategy is what makes it a reality. The how bucket, I ask myself, what are my needs, right? What are my personal needs? It's a short list, but what are my personal needs that are most important, the priority of them? I think it comes down to values, right? I keep a personal log of the things I value most, right? Not just words that sound good, but true personal values, the things that are unwavering. My value system, right, is important. And I think everybody has important personal values. What are your core value statements and truths for you? Strengths. I learned about strengths through Gallup Strength Finder years ago. Was fascinated with the tool, went on and actually got certified, spent a week at Gallup headquarters getting certified in the Strength Finder tool, and nothing more than just wanting to be a student, because I was fascinated by the thinking and the shift in perspective of focusing on strengths instead of weaknesses, and how we're all given natural talents, natural, innate talents, right, that we can cultivate to become our strengths. And so many people spend so much of their life trying to get better at weaknesses they weren't designed or created to do, instead of strengthening strengths of why you're really here. And I love the Gallup Strength Finder tool. I just use the assessment. It's an online assessment. I don't get paid to promote it. I just love it. But if you Google the Gallup Strength Finder, it takes about a half an hour to go through the assessment, and instantly gives you your natural strengths and talents. And it's uncanny how on point and relevant it is. And I got inspired this year that I went and retook the assessment. And it's not something you have to do or even something you're supposed to do. I did it, a long time ago, maybe 15 years ago. And I redid it, different stage in my life. And a lot of it was very similar. But, I think getting reconnected with your strengths is a lens you got to look through. I keep a principles list, right? Principles. I shared that some of our past conversations on my birthday, some of my top principles. I collect principles, principles that can help guide and move me forward. What are the core principles? I've talked about this in the past. I make mind maps of positive energy and negative energy, things that add energy to me and things that take energy away. And I get really clear, and I refresh that every year, of what are the things that give me energy and what are the things that take my energy. And I get really clear. I map them out on a little bubble chart of the things that power me up and the things that drain me. And then the last couple under the how comes down to habits. I think habits are even more important than goals. I think the goals are great milestones and you need to ignite that desire, what you want, but the habits are the how, it's what gets you there. So I look at my goals, I look at my vision, and I ask myself, well, what are the key habits that I need to do every day? What are my daily habits or weekly habits or monthly habits that'll help create the lifestyle that are most likely to move me toward those goals and those visions. And then I chunk the habits into routines. And routines are just habit linking. It's just linking a variety of habits into a sequence that you do over and over and over again to where it becomes more automatic, takes less activation energy, right, to get going. So I know that's a big list, and that's just because I've been doing this for a long time, so I've gathered these tools, but I literally go through and I have a process for each and every one of those, and I go through and refresh it. Sure, starting it, right, you start with a couple, and then you expand it, and once you have it, it's an easy thing to kind of review and rejuvenate and refresh every year, and you don't need all of it. But those are things that, in my mind, are the how lens. They're the things that move you toward that what and move you toward that why, right? So I think how is a very important lens. If I were to go on to number 5 lens would be asking the question when. Great, we know why we're doing it. We know what we want. We got clarity on who can help. We know how we're gonna do it. Well, when? If it doesn't get scheduled, it doesn't get done, right? Putting it into a calendar is where all the execution and magic happens. And all the when question is literally just opening up a calendar and asking, when will this happen? And prioritizing, right, the things that need to hit a calendar. You'll be amazed of how many things we've talked about need to hit a calendar, right? For you to accomplish your goals, right, there's things that need to hit a calendar. For you to have habits and routines, they need to hit a calendar. You'll be amazed of how many things that you just start filling your calendar with everything that's on your life lens, and you start to prioritize where your time's going. You know, I always tell people, show me your calendar and show me your bank account, I'll show you your life. Because your calendar tells you the things you value, tells you your habits, right? Tells you where your time and life and energy is going. And your bank account does the same with your money and your spending, right? What you value, what's important. But I think the when is super important when it comes to taking out a calendar and getting very tactical on what you want. The number 6 lens would be the urgency question, which is, well, what if? What if I do all of this? And what if I don't? And I like to get real with myself once I've gotten clear on everything we've talked about, right? Clear on why I'm here, clear on what I want, clear on who I can help, clear on how I can do it, clear on when it can happen, and then put urgency on myself by saying, look, what if I do? If I do all of this, if I do some of this, if I do most of this, if I just strive for this, what if? What happens? Who do I become? What do I gain? What do I learn? How do I grow? Who can I impact? Who can I help? What if? And then the painful one, right? What if I don't? And what if I don't? I get real with how will I feel? What regrets will I have? What impact won't I make? What won't happen? What won't be accomplished? Who can I let down? What time would I waste? What talent would I waste? What life would I waste? And for me, that question moves me. And I bet if you ask yourself that same question, it'll move you. What if you do? What if you don't? It's a personal leverage question. Creates an urgency. And then the last lens, I said there'd be 7, right? The last lens is just creating little tools or hacks to keep on track with all of this, right? So you did the heavy lifting. The last lens would be the life lens hacks, habit hacks. I would go through everything I just said annually, right? Once a year, kind of do the refresh. New Year's to my birthday is when I do it. It's a good time of the year to maybe give it a try. The goals I do annually. But then I think to stay on track, there's got to be tools in between. You can't just do it annually, shelve it and forget about it. But what I do is I'll take my life lens, and once I write all this stuff out, I'll record a video or an audio of myself just reading it. And then once a week, I'll watch the video or listen to the audio of just myself reading my own life lens, reacquainting myself with the work that I did and the path that I'm on for the year. It's just a reminder, it's just a refresher in a time with so much distraction and noise, so easy to get off track. It just helps pull me back to the path that I created for myself, makes me a priority for myself. Simple little thing, record it, video, listen to it weekly. And a goal tracker, a little tracker that just checks in with those goals on the categories every single week. How are we doing? Simple tools, simple hacks along the way. 7 lenses. And I don't think I've ever shared all of that publicly with anybody, maybe bits and pieces, but that's the framework, right? There's more to it when you dive into it, but you can keep it simple. It doesn't have to be overcomplicated. And I'll say, don't mess up, good for perfect. Don't let perfection get in the way of progress. Just start. All right, and you may say, hey, this is perfect framework. I'll rely on your expertise and thanks and take it verbatim the way that I give it. If you do, let me know. I'm willing to bet it's going to have an impact on your 2023. You might say, hey, Blake, I don't need all of that, but take some of it, right? Take some of it and make it your own, just like I did, of what works for you. That's the point. It doesn't have to be exactly, but I'm willing to bet if you take some of these things I've learned that are effective in my life, you're going to find they're effective in yours. Adapt it and make your own life lens. Ask yourself the questions, but do something, all right? Do something. And hopefully this framework inspires you to kind of start with that blank canvas, right? That new page, that tabula rasa, and craft a set of lenses to help you feel more alive, to help you move toward your meant to help you, right, decide who you are becoming and the life you want to live. So you guys tell me, was this helpful? Has it been beneficial? What inspired you most? What aspect resonated with you most? What is it that you're going to do and apply maybe to your life? And, my challenge to you is don't shelve it, don't put it off. Save this, right? Save this. Listen to it as many times as you need, document it, come back to it, and apply it. And I'm willing to know if you do apply it, right, it's going to make a dramatic impact. Here's one more view from the top. Beautiful day. And as always, education's a gift. And if this was valuable to you, it might be valuable to people you know and care about. So feel free to share this, tag them, drop by the podcast, Alive by Design, be a subscriber this year, be a supporter, leave some reviews. We got some amazing things coming. I'm excited for 2023. I'm excited to continue to add value. I appreciate all of you, the community out there, and those of you that show up, support, give feedback. It's why I do what I do and take the time to have conversations like this in hopes that it might have a little bit of impact on somebody out there and the ripple effect that can create just from a few of us making the shifts we need in our life and living our life in a way that can inspire others of what's possible in their own. Happy 2023. Let's think big. Let's get it. Define your life lens. It's going to be an awesome year. Happy New Year, everybody.